It doesn't mean you didn't eat. It's just she ate. Her eating doesn't negate your eating.
Because if you have a specific type of dirty, stinky,
Spirit.
smelly, spiritual attitude.
Oh, they're gonna drag me. I'm gonna show. I need to take a breather because I'm getting flustered. Downcast, spiritual, emotional, downcast,
Neglected, overshadowed,
speak on it,
diminished, disgraced.
Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to... No, that's wrong. Hey guys, welcome to episode number 2 of The Things You Can't Touch, a philosophy podcast where we touch on the deeper things of life. And today I have another very special guest with me, Akua, coming from very far away. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. And she has a YouTube channel. And what you lot are going to do, you're going to go and subscribe right now. I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to put it on the screen. Do you want to introduce yourself for the people there?
My name is Akua. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also have content.
Just waiting for you lot to go and watch and enjoy. So please do, in fact, go and enjoy her content. You might see me, sneak peek. One of the videos. Who knows? But yes, as usual, we're here to talk about philosophy. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Are you actually? Because I'm actually so annoying. I always have annoying questions to ask, and you know this. And your question today is... I'm so excited. I don't even want to say it because I've been keeping a secret for so long. Cool.
You have.
Akua, the question I have for you today is beauty in the eye of the beholder?
I'm so ready.
Thank you.
I'm so ready.
I don't know where to start, but this babe, she was a philosopher in like the 1800s. Her name was Margaret Wolfe Hungerford. Let me see if I pronounce it. Yes, Margaret Wolfe Hungerford, and she said beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And it's like people usually use that sentence here and there, they dash it around. So it's like, do you agree? Does she eat up? Or is beauty not in the eye of the beholder?
Don't agree.
Oh, so some people are ugly and some people are lame.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. Sorry. I feel like there's a beauty standard that has been created, and depending on what community you're part of, you can ascribe to certain standards within those communities. But I just feel like that beauty is subjective to a degree. However, there is like a standard of beauty that we have in today's society. So to say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I feel like is an overstatement.
An overstatement?
It's a drag.
As a drag? Because Augustus made it too subjective. Yeah. Is that why it's a drag?
Because people always say that thing of like someone's going to find the ugliest person beautiful. But like, I just feel like, in what sense? Because at the same time, are we talking about outward beauty, inward beauty?
That's another question I was going to ask. Like, people say it's what's on the inside that matters, but is it? Especially in this society.
She said, is it? Is it really?
Because like in the society that we live in, as much as we would like to believe that it's what's on the inside that matters, does it genuinely?
I feel like I might be the wrong person to ask because I'm a personality person. And that's like fine. As much as like obviously looks are good and stuff, I very much like gravitate to interesting people. So for me, it is more so what's on the inside. Some people are more shallow, and that's not a bad thing, but like that's not necessarily the first thing that I kind of look for.
At, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But isn't that beautiful in itself? Because I feel like when we say beauty, we're thinking on it. No, we're not. We're thinking about it in a superficial way in terms of facial features, what your body looks like just like generic beauty standard type of beauty. But when we're talking about beauty, we can see things that are not people or human beings as beautiful. So wouldn't you say like the intellect of somebody, sapiosexuality? Wouldn't you say that the like qualities of somebody's character is beautiful?
But that's what I said, like, are we talking about beauty in terms of outward appearance?
We're talking about it in the way that you want to talk about it.
Yeah. I personally feel like some people are beautiful beings. Like, your actual soul, your essence is beautiful. Wow. So if we're talking about, like, beauty in that sense, then, like, there are certain traits that someone is going to find beautiful. So in that case, I agree with her. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But if we're talking about outward appearance, no. That's, like, I think that's a stretch.
Why? Because Okay, is it because there is a beauty standard that people are going to be put in regardless? Or is it because to you, something is beautiful and something is just not?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think there is a beauty standard that, regardless of whether or not we want to understand exists, or like people don't want to ascribe to it, it exists regardless. Like that's just a thing within society. And obviously, as an individual, you're gonna have subjective beliefs on what you think is beautiful and what's not. So obviously, to me, like there are things that I don't find beautiful.
Like what? Perchance.
I don't want to get cancelled, y'all. Okay. But like, let's say personality, like certain things. I'm sorry, I don't like vertically challenged.
And I completely agree with this concept.
To me, that's not beautiful. I'm sorry.
Those who are below a specific stature.
Some of us are tall girl. Like, I can't be doing that.
To me, the beauty, is
diminished. Decreased.
With the height.
Deducted. as you're vertically challenged, the beauty doesn't be challenged. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Because, it's not easy being tall and not being... Don't you think that's an issue in itself? Because we're not part of... Is my button like... Just this, no. Yes, because we're not part of the beauty standard, not like... I don't know how to say...
Yeah,
because people don't usually go for
I'm
tall
not petite.
people. Yeah, I'm...
Like, at all.
Not petite. Because people don't usually go for those who are taller than thou, perchance.
Than thou. Ain't that?
Perhaps. People don't go for that type of, location in the demographic of
women.
Subjugation.
Ain't that down?
Perchance that is... Thank you.
I'm loving it.
But perhaps that's the reason why we find that which we are not less beautiful than we are.
So you feel like it's a projection of what?
Perhaps.
Something we've internalized?
Perhaps. I think so. Because that's why I had
going there?
We're going there.
Okay.
We're going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I feel like that's why I have a specific type of attitude towards certain types of people who were the beauty standard in that time. And that's something that I want to talk about. I don't want to go there. We're going there. There's where we're going. I'm so sorry. But before I forget, that's also something I want to talk about. The fact that beauty standards change. Perhaps that's evidence for the subjectivity of beauty. But we're going to land on that in the future. But right now, it's about the fact that, I've seen myself be like neglected, overshadowed.
Speak on it.
Diminished. Disgraced.
Yes.
As a result of other people being a beauty standard and as a result of them being too good, I was now too bad. Oh my goodness.
Ain't that?
For you to be on the same wavelength as me, thank you. So what, do you agree with the notion, like what I'm implying? Or are you saying you think you're doing much now? It's not that deep?
I absolutely agree.
Thank you. Please talk about it.
I absolutely agree. You said two things actually that I'm going to touch on.
Start from the beginning.
So,
I see what you did. Don't make me break the set.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry,
Number one, beauty standards evolve over time. That's a big thing. Yeah. So actually, that means that woman, she ate, whoever her name is.
Margaret.
In the eye of the beholder, it's true. Because when are you beholding
Margaret Wolf Hungerford. Yeah. Citation 1. Thank you.
When are you beholding that beauty?
Wow.
Is now relevant to what the beauty is.
Thank
Let
you.
that sink in. Don't let it go over your head. Thank you. Because it's true, like, how many years ago it was all about slim, petite babes.
Talk on it because I'm going to go there.
Then they started doing BBL fashion, BBL babe.
Okay.
Now it's clean girl aesthetic. So, like, obviously beauty like standards change over time. So it is subjective. And number two, you spoke about how, like, depending on who the beauty standard is at the time, the opposite of that is now not beautiful. Yeah. And I totally agree. I feel like for a period of time growing up, as you said, don't cancel me, guys. Yeah. But I feel like the whole light skin versus dark skin was a big thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was even going to go there.
Really? That's what I thought you were talking about, you know?
No, I was going elsewhere.
Where's the elsewhere?
We'll land there after.
Okay. And then it was also tall versus short. As I've said before, I'm not a small girl.
It's not easy,
a mighty one. So... I ate that.
She said to herself, I ate that. Okay. It is me, it is I.
Sorry,
as you were. About. You said light skin versus dark skin. And not too first is sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those things, when you don't like subscribe. It's not like you didn't even get a chance to subscribe if you wanted to, but you were forced to not subscribe. You end up feeling like you're outside of what is deemed as beautiful, and that then has an impact. But I want to talk on what you were gonna say. What were you thinking about?
What was I thinking about? I was thinking about what you kind of touched on, a little piece, about how in the beginning people wanted skinny girls, like basically the white people beauty standard, because
Eurocentric.
how do we Eurocentricity is a problem, man, in beauty standards. But as I don't know if it's globalization or what, because we've been globalizing for a long time, and still black women especially have been I'm trying to find the past tense of it, but have been. Thank you.
I get it.
Thank you.
We make our own English here.
They've been being put down for a hot minute, and I just don't understand what the hype is suddenly, recently. But I think it's because
I think I can speak on that.
I think you can absolutely speak on it. I think it's because what was I gonna say? It's because white women were starting to make money off of black women's beauty, basically black women's bodies and how we look and what we do, our style. Anyway, as you were.
I was gonna link because you were saying why. I did a bit of reading on this because I'm a bit of a nerd.
Talk about it.
And it's as you said, globalization, as people started intermingling and interracial couples became more prevalent, with the evolution of mixed race children who kind of had a bit of both, they then became the beauty standard, because it's you kind of fit into both standards within different communities, and then the appropriation of black features on white women became a whole thing in of itself. So it's we kind of shifted from that Eurocentric, skinny, petite, small supermodel frame to suddenly Kim K is the standard of black bums.
Voluptuous.
What happened there? But yeah, I just feel that whole shift kind of stemmed from that. So that's what you were saying. Sorry.
So anyway, I don't know, that whole conversation basically came from the fact that beauty standards are changing and that, it's subjective and things of that nature. But first, there was a question that... Okay, yeah, cool. First of all, we want to address, what's beauty? What is beauty? Because we've been focusing on beauty standards, but that's so superficial. That's not all there is to beautifulness. Even though the word is in fact beauty.
Okay.
Just another one.
That's fine. The language.
That's fine. That's completely okay. But cool. You can find objects beautiful. You can find nature beautiful. You can find minds beautiful. Can that all be compared though? Can we call these all the same type of beauty, or is it a different notion?
No.
What's the difference?
I think there's beauty in everything.
Okay.
I just don't think they're all the same type of beauty.
What's the difference between them?
I don't necessarily know what the difference is, but I just feel beauty can come in different forms. And depending on who you are, you'll find beauty in different things. I think that's what's even beautiful.
Wow.
I feel all of us are so different, so we find everything differently beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Some people find beauty in music, some people don't like music like that. If you don't, you're weird. But some people find beauty in art, some people find beauty in spoken word, poetry, etc., etc. Yeah. So I don't really know what the difference in the notion is, but I just know that they're different.
It's giving Plato.
Speak on it.
I'm absolutely going to talk on it.
That.
I do love a cheeky bit of Plato. He came up with the forms, and he said that is much to talk about, but basically this world is fake. It doesn't exist. Everything in here is a copy of the real world, which is called the world of the forms. And in the world of the forms is the perfect version of every single thing that we see in this world. So as we observe beauty in this world, they're fake because they're different versions. Because for Plato, for something to be real, it has to be consistent. He realized that the world continuously changed. So he said that in the world of the forms, which is a metaphysical realm, a world that's intangible, is the perfect version of beauty. And all the beautiful things in this world act as a reflection of the true beauty, the true objective beauty in the world of the forms. Do you see the vision? So where I'm going with that is that everything that we see here, and how we're saying is subjective, is because all of these versions of beauty are not real. They're just trying to imitate the true form of beauty in the world of the forms. That was so quick.
Sorry,
Why do you agree so quickly?
because it's given like biblical.
Yeah.
Like, you know how God was perfect? Everything was perfect. So Adam and Eve, the fall of man,
Yeah.
he spoils everything.
Yours.
That means she said okay. That means like we're kind of chasing that.
Yeah.
Like
we're
trying to go back to that, but we can't because we're
continuously
corrupt and
changing.
inept, as Hobbes would say.
That's why we're
So it's like,
continuously arguing.
there's trouble and turmoil, downcast, spiritual, emotional downcast.
Thank you.
It's much.
Tell them.
And I just feel like, yeah, I agree.
Plato ate.
Plato did eat that.
There was
We're trying to
something
go,
else.
but I don't know who gave him the authority to go and say that he's the one that knows the real world.
Plato, because he thought philosophers were the best.
So he said,
He
I'm the
believed,
best.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
He believed in philosopher kings
Okay.
and people who study philosophy,
Were the
and
best.
really, absolutely, they were the best.
I'm not gonna lie, he's not wrong.
Thank you.
I like
Elitism, and
philosophers
that's
a lot.
fine.
You guys are eating.
Elitism, and that's okay.
Facts.
Thank you. It was linking to something else. Our good brethren, Hume. Some people, those who like know philosophy, will ask, "What is Hume doing talking about beauty? Go and focus on your shit at hand." Hume has no business with talking about beauty. I'll be real, but he said that there is an objective beauty, and I believe beauty is objective. Because I don't know, throughout this whole podcast series, like you're gonna hear, I hate subjectivity.
We know.
I don't
We know.
I don't know what it is about the notion of things being subjective that I seriously dislike. I don't know what it is about subjectivity that I just dislike. I think it's the lack of consistency with subjectivity. Like we can't pick and choose when we like something or when we don't. If something is what it is or not. That's what my issue is.
But we're complex beings.
And that's okay. But I hear that. I hear that. On this earth, I believe that subjectivity, like there has to be subjectivity. There's no choice because everyone is different. And that's just how we've ended up. However, I do believe in naturalism, which is the notion that things are objectively right or wrong. I believe that there's like this world and then like something on top, which has the answers to everything.
Yeah.
So there's a true notion of what beauty is, but we're not gonna find it at this point. But I do believe beauty is objective, but you know the way that we're living, it just has to be subjective, and nothing we can do about that.
What's objective about beauty? Like, what
I think what you can call beautiful has to have a list of
like
what's the word? Not necessarily properties. Characteristics. Thank you.
No problem.
Properties, characteristics that they match up with in order for me to be like, yeah, I've ticked all the boxes, so that's what's beautiful.
Let's just say, like, what would, if you could conjure up a list
of things that are
a few
beautiful.
that just like,
I
what are the
can't.
characteristics?
I can't, because if I say it is subjective.
No, but I'm saying if, let's say, your opinion wasn't subjective, in your mind, what would that
What would I
list
say
be?
is beautiful?
Yeah.
Art. But then the question is like, what is art?
Okay.
Because before we get to saying, oh yeah, art is beautiful, we have to deduct what art is first of all before we can decide what's beautiful. And like it just leads to a lot of different questions that I don't know if we're ever gonna understand.
True.
So it's like, I'm just gonna have to firm the subjectivity of beauty for now. But yeah, beauty over time, it changes. What significance is that? How is that? Why can't we have a Wow,
that was a big one.
I'm just thinking about it. Why do we change our minds about what's beautiful and what's not? Do you think it's as a result of the patriarchy? Only because I feel like beauty. I'm so sorry. Because some people will come for me and be like, not everything's the patriarchy. It's not always men.
No, let's talk about it.
But it's like I just feel like beauty standards is like I don't know how to put it into words, because like as much as women we do things for ourselves.
Eden, I'm ready.
Cool. Please unpack before I say things that don't even make sense again.
Please. So you said two things. You said, why is it changing all the time? And I just feel like as people, we can never make up our minds, to be honest. Like, we're easily influenced. So over time, like things evolve, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like what we see as beautiful can change, and it's not always negative. But yeah, I don't know. As human beings, we're weird. I can't lie. But the second point, the bigger point. Is it the patriarchy? What isn't the patriarchy? Let's think about that. But before we go and delve into such a topic,
thank you.
I do feel like beauty standards stem from the
The patriarchy. Okay, cool. Because I didn't want to feel like I was doing too much. I gaslit myself.
No, don't ever. That was the patriarchy.
The patriarchy in my head. Thank you.
Yeah, internalized. Because I feel like a lot of things are the male gaze, and no matter how much we try and say that we're getting away from that, it's really pervasive. Let's not even pretend like it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And even with rise of feminism, I understand like we're doing more to not have the male gaze impact us as much, which is true. But I just feel like there are still women who buy into the male gaze.
Yeah.
And I feel
even
like
even unconsciously.
Even me, sometimes it's a subconscious thing, but you're still going to do it.
I said unconsciously. Subconsciously.
You know, apparently we use it in the wrong context.
Yeah.
A psychology student told me that. So unconsciously wasn't wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
But to say unconsciously, that means I'm not conscious. Like,
apparently it's not.
Well,
another conversation another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I saying? Male gaze. Oh yeah, we buy into it. Yeah. As much as we try not to, it's still very apparent. And I feel like the way women have been socialized is like how we outwardly appear has to suit a certain standard. No matter how like far we go, there's always a harsh borderline at which once you step over, all of a sudden you've done too much. So it's like even our standards that we kind of have, our beauty standards somewhat still fit what a man would want or a typical man would want. Like as soon as you get out of that, you see people in people's comments, oh, this girl doesn't have a dad. How did we get here? Like you actually go on TikTok and like women who don't necessarily subscribe to male gaze or dress for themselves. Suddenly, all of a sudden,
there's something wrong in her background, something wrong with her.
She's fatherless.
Yeah.
What? Like, I'm perplexed. So it's just like, I do feel like patriarchy is that pervasive that it impacts us even today. And we try and act like it's not that deep, but it really is. I just feel like that's a structural issue. So
wow, that's something. I'm so glad you really ate up the answer, people.
Thank you. I felt like I was waffling.
No. It made a lot of sense, and I really it made a lot of sense, and I really appreciate that. But I said that beauty standards change over time, but what I forgot about was what's the word? Not globalization, like internationalization.
What do you mean?
Maybe I should just explain myself. So what I'm trying to say is that as much as beauty standards change in the same place over time, they're always still different across the globe because there are different places. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the phrase you may
cultural relativism. Perchance,
it is
I would
culturally
not know.
relative. You are right.
Wow, cultural relativism.
She's right.
Guys, black people are educated, you know.
When were we not? Actually, wait, let's not discuss that. Sorry.
It's because I feel like on social media, we're answering questions. Like we're doing things.
I think there should be a license and we should pass IQ test before we go open podcast, please.
Press him.
Be free.
Cultural relativism. Because I don't know if there's some place in Asia where whilst all of us are trying to get slim waist, skinny gal, they want to be fat. They want to be big and plump because it shows that they're rich.
Yeah.
It shows that they have money to buy food.
Facts.
That's one of the beauty standards over there. In different countries in Africa, we have different beauty standards. There's a tribe that does something special to their hair. I don't know, but it's flat and red.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? That people stretch their ears with earrings.
Yeah.
They have lip plates.
You know the neck one.
The people stretch their neck.
The beautiful are you.
There's a place in Asia that they squeeze their feet, they bind their feet from a young age so that their feet can remain small. And it's like, look at all these different beauty standards. If I saw someone with small feet and you're 6 foot, why are you looking at me right now? I'll be afraid.
I'm running away.
There's controversy around the foot binding.
Why?
Because like people, like they're trying to break away from the foot binding.
Yeah.
Damaging. Yeah.
Like,
but the thing is,
the point is that it was a beauty standard. No?
Yeah. But the thing about that is that a lot of beauty standards are crazy, damaging, and harmful. People are going out getting life-threatening surgeries. She said lip fillers.
Cut that out. They're gonna drag me. Damn.
Same.
I can't lie.
But anyway, yeah, people are out here getting life-threatening surgeries, life-threatening procedures, simply so that they can be beautiful. And it's like, I'm not sure where I was going with what I was saying. I have in fact lost my train of thought.
I do know where you were going.
Thank you. Please help me to land.
You were linking it to the foot binding thing and how at any given point a beauty standard is harmful.
That's a separate point. Before I got
okay.
there, thank you. I was in fact saying that, yeah, as much as beauty standards are different across timelines, they're different across the world at the same point in time. So it's like,
I like the way you phrase that.
thank you. So like the confusion is much because like, is beauty in the eye of the beholder? Evidently, right now the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But there's something about that statement that's just a bit.
I don't like the
I don't
statement
like
though.
it.
Yeah, that's why I said no initially.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Something
what
about it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
What it's trying to say is that beauty is subjective, true.
Per person,
But
it's
is
not.
beauty in the eye of the beholder? You're landing on something, please land.
I think it's subjectively objective.
Right?
Do you know why? I just had a revelation. I feel like as much as it's subjective, it's not in the eye of a single person, it's in the eye of a society.
Oh,
so the
you've
beholder
landed.
is no longer an individual. It's a
The
collective because
is
of
the
beauty standard. I just don't know why that just now came to me. I should
And
have said that
that's
from
so
the beginning.
okay. That is so okay. The fact that you've landed on it is
Thank
what's
you.
important.
It means a lot.
That you a.
I feel like you guys didn't really attack the patriarchy tough enough. As you said,
We ran away from the
to go
patriarchy
back
very
to it because I
quickly.
didn't want to.
Who is the Elizabeth, thank you.
But
Thank
I
you.
don't necessarily agree with that being the
Sorry.
patriarchy at every given time. Okay.
We can absolutely unpack that in 2 seconds.
Okay.
But I'm a neek. I have to I need to talk about the philosophy.
Facts.
That just reminds me of something. So, Elizabeth, what you basically said is that who is the beholder?
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue within philosophy, especially political philosophy, because there's something called, you guys have heard me say this, S knows that P. Yeah, S knows that P. The problem with that idea of knowledge... You ate.
Sorry.
You ate.
Thank you.
But the problem that they have with this S knows that P is that S being the person. Am I saying it the right way? Okay. Sorry, I thought I mixed up the letters. But the problem is that S being the subject of the person is always basically a white man. Like because like knowledge, they're trying to say knowledge is anything random, like is anything arbitrary. But the knowledge of a black woman is different to the knowledge of a white man. And it's like, that's the issue with this statement about the beholder you ate. Because there was something about the beholder that was just like, it wasn't landing right. Like, it's
I
beauty in
think
the eye
that's
of
the
the
problem
beholder
with
is
the
the
statement that we
beholder.
have.
That's
Betty
it.
really tied that
He
in.
helped us.
We just deeped what the problem
The question is,
the beholder.
who is
Beholding.
the beholder?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ate that. Cheers.
So are we going to unpack the answer to
We're
that
gonna
question,
unpack that.
perchance? Who do you think the beholder is? Because
I-
Elizabeth,
Thinks it's the patriarchy.
perchance, believes it's the patriarchy. I hear it. Is it the
You can
patriarchy?
ponder
Like,
on that.
think about it. You can absolutely change your mind.
Absolutely do that.
Think about it, and that's so fine.
I was gonna say, I think it's more to do with race than it is to do with gender.
Talk about it.
I'm gonna get in trouble, aren't I? I personally do believe that as much as patriarchy is pervasive, so is the coloniality of knowledge.
Coloniality of knowledge.
And I
The
feel
coloniality of knowledge. Thank you.
like I said, coloniality of knowledge. I just feel like with how things were racialized with the colonial subjects versus the colonizers, I feel like they kind of influenced everything that we saw as beautiful. And like when I say we, you know who I'm talking about. I don't really want to say that explicitly before I come and demonetize your video.
That's okay.
But I just feel like as much as it is patriarchy to a degree, the white comes before the man. Like the white man exists within race before.
Oh, you ate that up. Guys, don't let that go over your head. Did you grab that? She said the white comes before the man.
Yeah, I grabbed it.
The white man.
She said I grabbed it.
You personally grabbed it.
Personally, I grabbed
It
it.
went over my head. I'm sorry.
And I feel like that's why a lot of things, like beauty standards we see today, are centered around like Eurocentricity. I don't know if that's a word, but you get what I'm trying to
Eurocentricity is
say.
a word.
Thank you so much. So even like we see bleaching is so pervasive. That's not necessarily to suit male gaze. Even though fairness is equated to beauty,
Oh, you're
it's
right.
not necessarily the male gaze is why
It's
people are bleaching.
palatability.
Exactly.
To being accepted into society.
It's the
It's not
integration of you just being a normal human in society
Oh
before
my
you're then
gosh, you ate that
beautiful.
up.
Do you know what I mean?
pretty privilege.
Wow.
Sorry, that has
We're
nothing
gonna
to do
get
with it,
there,
but we need to talk on that.
We'll get there.
You landed on a point that was
Yeah.
just so... because
I just wanted to clarify
finish,
because I felt like
I
I went on a tangent, but I feel like the whole idea of race coming before male gaze is because you kind of have to be seen as a standard of just like beautiful within the human concept before then the male gaze influences that beauty.
Beauty in terms of humanity, like beauty in terms of just being accepted into a society, being accepted into a community.
Yeah, let alone
before
the romances now.
The romances.
Added.
Thank you. That's much. And it's like beauty being in the eye of the beholder is such a wicked and bad concept. Simply because the beholder, I think, is a white man. Like, it has to be a white man. It has to be. I'm like, right now the white man is controlling. Not controlling, but like they are what is allowing the structures to continue structuring. And it's like, for someone like, I'm a black person and I'm a woman, so I'm always gonna talk about black women. So if you have a problem with that, keep yourself. Thank you. But like, as a black woman, that alone is hard. Because before we can even get into talk about romances, get into talk about in the fashion industry, get into talk about modelling and things of that nature, I have to be a human.
And then
what's his
allowing
name?
me.
Rudyard Kipling. You know the book, Jungle Book. You thought
Jungle Book. You thought
you ate.
You starved. You didn't even nibble. Let alone.
And it's like,
the plate is still full.
Do you know how many of us grew up learning about the jungle, reading the Jungle Book? They were talking about us.
No, did you know?
We were the animals.
We were laughing, thinking, "Oh, look at the animals."
We said, "Hee hee."
It's us, apparently.
Joke. We
Allegedly.
were the animals.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not an animal in Jesus' name.
At that, back to sender.
Back.
Thank you. Before we could even be a human, you can see these white men already calling us animals.
Yeah.
And it's March. Sorry, that's all I wanted to say. Being accepted into community is March.
Double homicide, as you say. As a black woman, we always have to talk about intersectionality. Yeah. I will bring this word up every time until you guys suffer and you get tired of it.
She says,
but it's like, honestly, I'm black and a woman. So it's like, it's not just racism that I have to now battle and deal with. It's the beauty standards that are now forced down my throat as a black woman when they barely even see our femininity as a valid concept. It's just mad.
I even read it here.
Great minds.
Doesn't mean that it is. Oh, sorry. Beauty is objective based on the consensus. So it's about
objectivity.
Based on we ate
on the wavelength.
Thank you.
Because
it's based on what the people agree to be beautiful.
100%.
But then again, is it the people or is it a specific person that indoctrinates the people then?
But the people can be that specific group. Because the people doesn't need to mean the multicultural, diverse society that we live in. The people could be the white man. Like, do you know what I mean? The beholder is a group of people and we already know who that is.
Beauty standards have literally raved and, finished the podcast. So I'm going to go a bit...
Take us on a tangent.
I'm going to lie if I said we're going in a different direction because it's kind of in the same place. But Descartes, love a cheeky Descartes.
Come on.
I love a cheeky Descartes. He gave an analogy. It was kind of to prove the existence of God, but I'm taking it out of context.
Go on, be free.
He said that he finds, like on a woman, the most beautiful part of a woman are her eyes. But if you were to cover the entire of her body in her eyes, would she not be an ugly monster?
Reload that, sorry. If you were to cover the entirety of her body and just left her eyes.
No. If her body was just her eyes. Just
like,
eyes.
I. Like the angels, the biblical angels.
Basically. Right. Wouldn't that be a jump scare?
Jump scare.
So it's like, is beauty...
Grabbing
the quantity, where do you begin, where do you end?
I'm grabbing
How does it? Do you see what I did there?
It has to be proportional.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Because as I see you now, your eyes are beautiful. That's nice. However, if your eyes now cover the whole of your body,
I'll be scared of running.
I'm afraid now. Thank you.
I don't like it.
I'm scared. Jump scare.
Jump
scare. And I feel like in the same way, like. People, like with surgery, people want to get breast, they want to get yash. It's much now. Yeah, thank you. It's much now. It's a bit too over
Zealous.
Yeah,
Overzealed.
they've overzealed.
Yeah.
It's so overzealous. So it's like beauty, you know, it needs to be in...
Proportion.
Is that what I'm looking for? How would my mom tell me? You need to do it in... Moderation.
Eben! Yeah! She ate that!
The thing is, Evan has heard that word too many times in her life.
Of course, sometimes in moderation.
You need to do it in moderation. So
Facts.
beauty, you know, you can't be too much with it or
But
too less with it.
That's not just beauty though.
Is
I
what
say,
as well?
so too much of a good thing is bad.
Mm.
Even if you eat carrot, you turn orange. You can't eat the same thing. Even vegetables, if you eat too much is bad. So like,
Guys, you know, if you drink too much water, you can
will
die.
explode. Your cells will explode.
You
It's
know,
awesome biology.
hyper.
Something.
How do you? Women in STEM. Thank you.
Ate that. Don't play with us. So yeah, like I feel like that's just a human thing. Like everything has to be proportional and has to be in moderation, as they would say. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that's just applied to beauty.
Is there such thing as ugly?
Ooh, I have a very
You respond.
I have a cancelable opinion on this.
You have a cancelable opinion. I guess we're gonna get cancelled
Only
today.
Jesus can cancel me.
Praise
and
him.
the day he does, he will never.
Thank you. Should I ask the question again for you to take a breather? Akua, you can never be dry.
Okay, ask it again.
Is there awkward? No, let me say her name properly. Akua.
Eden calls me awkward.
Awkward.
She has the RD at the end.
And that's okay.
And I love it.
Thank you.
Continue.
Is there such thing as ugly?
Yeah. Because I believe there's such thing as bad. And if something is bad, it's ugly. Like
That's
'cause
a
it
very
doesn't-
logical approach.
Exactly. It doesn't need to
I
be
hear that.
beauty necessarily.
Yeah.
But I just believe that
That's not a cancelable
characteristics-
offense.
No, because I was gonna say something.
Oh, but you retracted.
I'm still gonna
the
say it because who
Thank you.
can beat me?
Nobody.
Thank you. I'm a conqueror. That's a daily affirmation. I'm a conqueror.
Everybody sing with us.
I am a conqueror.
Ain't that? Character traits can be ugly. Like as you said, beauty is not just external.
Thank you.
If you're selfish, you're ugly. Like I'm sorry.
I agree.
Narcissistic.
No, because some people need to
I
hear
said
it.
narcissistic,
Because if
yeah.
you have a specific type of
English is
dirty, stinky,
Spirit.
smelly, spiritual
Oh.
attitude,
Bad
you're
character,
ugly.
you're ugly.
You're ugly. Crop it. Send it to your friend.
I said
That's
ugly.
it. You ain't. Because sometimes, I don't know what it is about me, but when I see people, initially when I see your lens, like, you're not.
So
I wouldn't say you're
open your
overzealously
mouth.
beautiful, so out of astronomously. No, but I'll say you're beautiful. Like you're a beautiful person.
Till you
If you
talk
open your
and
mouth and you're rude,
spout it,
you're so
you're
ugly.
to me. No matter how beautiful you
You're
can
so
externally
ugly.
appear, you're ugly.
I'll be real.
Genuinely.
If you're rude to me, you're ugly.
And what's worse is some people.
And I'm speaking from
ugly
experience.
characteristic.
Override.
It's like override.
Overcome.
Eden. Sometimes
Overtakes.
it's more than
much over.
much.
Greater than.
Greater.
The symbol and the sign.
Crocodile, yeah.
Thank you.
It's much more than what makes them beautiful. And it's like
Yeah.
from then you've balanced the balance and you're ugly.
Now
Sorry.
you're ugly. And it's like, even if your face is shining bright, beauty standard
Like a
heights.
star. Ooh, rhyming.
Did I eat
Poet.
that up?
Don't kill them.
Poetry. Spoken
Don't
word.
kill them.
Right. The truth is, as much as you're equivalent, in fact, you are the beauty standard.
Alright.
If you're
RJ.
rude and your attitude and your character and your spirit
Smelly,
is not good,
you're ugly.
you're so ugly.
Ugly. With a
Oh.
H.
You're so ugly.
Ugly.
Sorry.
But
So,
yeah,
the question you
I
don't
was
even need to
gonna
answer
land
more
again.
again.
No, I had to go back to my cancelable opinion that
Okay.
nobody can cancel me again. I also do agree that sometimes our society wants to make everything beautiful. If everything is beautiful, it's much. Like we're doing too much.
That leads me
now.
on to my next question. I
Okay,
love the
I'll
fact that you
hold
said
it.
that.
I'll hold it.
Oh, can you remember it?
I swear I'll hold it.
My next question is beauty equivalent to rarity? Like, does it have to be rare in order for it to be beautiful? Because as you said, if everything is now beautiful, what is to be
What is
beautiful
beauty
again? It has to be rare. It has to be something that everybody can have. That's the only way that it can be
You see, one thing
beautiful.
about me, I love answering questions in two parts.
Please do that. Split it
you.
into two. Split in
You
the
said,
middle.
hey, make the two touch.
Right.
You said, is it rarity? I also think it can be like a needle in a haystack. So Okay, let me explain that first.
Is a
before I
needle
go
in the
back to-
haystack not rarity?
Yes, but it's a different version. That's how I'm
Okay.
gonna explain it.
Oh,
Because
explain.
I'm seeing it in two ways. The needle in the haystack, like understanding that I've gotten is multiple people can be kind, but like if that stands out amongst your personal personality traits, that now becomes the needle in your haystack as an individual person. So it's not rare. It's not a rare trait that people are kind, but it's like it's almost your like. How do I explain it?
Is rare for you, or is rare
Yeah,
in
like,
your group of people, or
in your being, it shines the brightest.
so out
So
of
it's
all of
not
the characters
rare.
that you have,
Yeah.
the best one that you have is your
Yeah,
kindness.
so I wouldn't say
Okay.
it's rare, but it's like, so maybe it's not a needle in the haystack actually, no, because that means you can't see it. But
It's like a star shining
it's a
bright.
Yeah.
Out of all the different stars, there's the
Yeah,
brightest shining
there's the
star.
brightest star, and I would say that can be like a form of it. And the rarity in the sense that like, if it's not plenty, like if you don't see much of it. I think that's why sometimes like we kind of what's the word? Like we underplay how excellent people can be because they kind of want to force black excellence.
Yeah,
by
especially when
force.
it comes
And
to
it's
black
great
people.
to see it, but I just feel like
Yeah.
sometimes when it's like, oh, they're gonna drag me. I'm gonna show. Let me start again. The second point I was gonna make
Talk about it.
is the rarity in terms of like, if you've got a special like aspect of yourself that we don't see in society as much. I feel like if something we kind of, what's the word? I keep forgetting. Like not underestimate, underappreciate.
Oh, I was gonna say
certain
undervalue.
Undervalue is a good one.
Okay.
Certain traits that people have because like the media kind of highlights it a lot sometimes, and you forget that that's still a rarity within society. And I link that to black excellence and how like as much as we see a lot of black excellence,
is a scam.
not that black people are not excellent, that's not the rare aspect of it, but a lot of the like expressions or artistic expression are still things that are rare in wider society that should be celebrated. But kind of sometimes when you see on social media and it's like bunched up in one place, you just expect that that's just a
7-year-old graduated from Oxford
people,
yesterday
and as much
with
as we
a
are
PhD.
excellent,
Like, it's much.
let people shine in that excellency. Like it doesn't now need to become normalized to the point where now we kind of just take it as a given.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's still beautiful in its own way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So does
I kind of
beauty?
forgot where I was going.
Because like we were basically coming from the fact that does beauty have to be rare?
Oh yeah.
Or, so your answer is at some points in
It has to be.
certain places it has to be rare, but in
'cause
others
that's what I was saying before, that our society is kind of normalizing everything to be beautiful. So then what is beauty?
If everything
the
is
whole aspect
beautiful,
of beauty was
yeah.
it's supposed to be like this secluded circle, but
On
as we're
that
widening
point-
the circle, then it just becomes everything.
on that point,
So
can beauty exist without ugliness?
no.
So that's
Like you
basically
said,
what you're trying
I'm
to
a
say.
rational person.
Yeah.
For there
If
to be
there's
good, there has to be
and
bad. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? For there to be black, there has to be white.
Yeah.
Darkness is the absence of light.
So
Thank
that
you.
means that
Amen.
in this world,
Thank you, Evan.
in this world, there are beautiful people and ugly people.
Yes.
In fact,
I severely agree with that. Sincerely. Absolutely
in,
wholeheartedly.
in terms of personality or like facially,
Let's be honest, like, certain things are not nice. Like, they're not nice. Guys, like, I feel like this is what I'm saying. Our society wants to
they're so
normalize
soft.
everything.
Yeah. No, you're
Someone
right.
could
That's why
have
they call
rotten
us
teeth
snowflake.
and you open your mouth and
I
say,
see, but
that's
it's
beautiful in your
beautiful.
own way.
It's
No,
beautiful in your
your
own
teeth are
way.
black. So it's just like, I don't understand how certain things that are objectively not nice, they're not good. Again, why have we done this?
She said it's objectively not nice. It's not good again. She said your teeth are black. I'm sorry.
I'm making this a joke. Wait. Betty has a couple definitions for us, and I really want to touch on them, so take it away.
I'll probably do this in quite a few episodes. I do really like.
As you should.
I think this should become your thing.
I was going to Google the definition of ugly just to see if I have anything to say I can apply it.
Go on.
There's four.
Okay, say all four.
Say all.
please.
Number one, offensive to the sight.
You're offensive to the side. You're ugly.
Unfortunate face is really
Unfortunate. For somebody to call somebody's face unfortunate.
I'll never
Oh
forget.
my god.
offensive to the sight and hideous. Or
Hideous.
Offensive or unpleasant to any sense. Number two, morally offensive or objectionable.
Yeah, that's ugly personality.
Bad character.
Bad character.
Likely to cause inconvenience or discomfort. Four, frightful and dire.
Frightful.
Oh my
No, listen, you ate those definitions up. frightful and dire. And dire, not just one, two. As in, you're a frightful and dire being. I will kill myself. I'll have. You see this one? Do you know what it means to be called frightful and dire?
It's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
Right.
I no longer have words. Because
Wordless.
those definitions are wordless.
Take it away.
Speechless. I have less speech right now.
Less speech, indeed. I wanted to touch on that. That's what I'm saying. There's like it's not everyday subjectivity, guys. Like there are literally things that are objectively ugly and frightful
like,
and dire.
not even,
and we can't now tell ourselves that it's beautiful. It's not.
Not
It's
even
not
ugly
good.
because I want to insult you or because I want you to be bad. It's not
but
healthy.
genuinely.
It's you're not black teeth. Is it healthy? Is it
Come
good?
on.
Is it good?
And when we say, we're
But
not talking about like things that are not that deep.
Yeah, we're not talking about the size of
or
your nose,
eye
the size of
colour,
your
or
eyes,
your lip,
or
like,
your
no,
hair.
not stuff
We're
like that.
we're talking about serious things that people are just accepting left, right, and center simply because they want to be inclusive
of everything. If we include everybody, then
there'll be no more because without excluding, we cannot
we
include.
can't include. When we've included finish, humanity will die.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm done.
Just like humanity would die. That's the end. Extinction.
That's it. Extinction. Gosh.
Do you know? I have a question.
Take it away.
Are women
Here we go.
more beautiful than men?
Oh, praise him.
And is it comparable?
Can I say something?
Talk about it.
Do you know why they will say women are more beautiful than men?
Talk about it.
Because as you said, the beholder is men. So men don't ascribe beauty to themselves, they ascribe it to women. I feel like every time we have this conversation, it's always, women are more beautiful, but that's because patriarchy. So, I don't...
They did it to themselves.
Exactly. It's
'Cause in my
patriarchy
head-
affects both men and women negatively.
In
That's
my
what I have to say.
oh wow, that's a good sentence. The reason why I asked that question, I don't know people. Have people asked that before?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Really?
I've literally heard this conversation.
Damn, I've never. Okay, that's interesting. Because the only reason why I asked is that women, I feel like, people who are more feminine have a more specific. How do I put it? Like we have more to do. In terms of makeup, the way we dress, the colors that we think about it, and it's like beauty from the inside out. Kindness, the way you treat other people, as well as because we know what it feels like to not be treated nicely, simply because of the environment that we live in. And on top of that, the way we smell, the way we interact with other people, is because we have all of that to think about. I'm not a masculine person, so I wouldn't know about men or people who are masculine. But it's does that make feminine people or women more beautiful than those who are masculine?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, talk about it.
You said something and I literally forgot because I was trying
What,
to
is it too superficial?
focus. I was literally trying to focus on a point. Yes, Betty.
The reason why I feel like that question makes sense. The reason why I feel like to some extent it's kind of maybe true is because, like you said, the beholder is men in this context, for example. And so I think all of that, the way you smell, how you
I figured out the point. Sorry.
your face, all of that, it all comes down to perception.
Facts.
And because the male gaze is so pervasive and all of
Yeah.
that, and women are always under scrutiny.
Yep.
There's pressure to uphold that. Do you know what I mean? So then, because as women we don't necessarily we're not the beholder, maybe, or we don't necessarily we don't concern ourselves with superficial things all the time. Those standards don't apply to men as much. So it's not that they're less beautiful, but it's just that the standard that they're judged by isn't the way they're perceived as much in that sense.
Which is why I asked at the end of that question, is it comparable?
Can I speak?
Speak, please.
I was gonna say I feel like men or people who are masculine presenting, I feel like there's a level of weaponized mediocrity to a degree.
Weaponized
because
mediocrity.
As Betty has said, because they're not under scrutiny, there's almost nothing to judge them to. There's no standard per se. So it's kind of if they're subpar or they're not beautiful, quote unquote, it's okay, but we didn't expect anything.
Because I realized that when people call, there's a specific guy on TikTok that I'm remembering that blew up, and people say he looked like Jesus. When people ascribe the word beauty to him, it's in feminine standards because of
agree.
his hair, because of his eye color, and because of the way he carried himself. So it's like, is beauty in femininity?
I do agree, but like I said before, I think it's because of the male gaze. Because if, like you said, women have more to like uphold, or people who are feminine presenting have more to uphold. So it's like, because we're constantly being watched, the eyes are on the feminine person, not backwards. Do you know what I mean? So the beauty then is
in the
placed
eye
upon
of the beholder. I understand.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Like, beauty is then placed upon
Yeah.
the feminine qualities or the
Yes.
person. So it's not like reflecting back, because you can't see yourself, you can see outwards. So then it becomes a thing of like, beauty is not ascribed to men or masculinity. That's then like other things. But beauty is almost very like, society has connoted beauty with femininity.
Basically,
Yeah.
That's beautiful. A boon.
Yes, I've been.
I have another point in terms of not physical beauty, but like within.
The beauty within.
I feel like women,
Yes.
and because obviously you're talking about like women will be beautiful than men. That was
Are you gonna land on what I think you're gonna land on? Yeah.
basically women and people who've like grown up
Yes.
being perceived as women.
Yes.
I think there's a certain level of like empathy
Yes.
and like nuance that they have
Yes.
in situations
She landed.
that people who like grew up like being perceived as men don't have, because they're kind of like oblivious to certain,
I agree.
like, I don't know how to word it.
I get where you're going.
I see where you're coming from.
To certain things that make them
Ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally.
I really want to piggyback.
Yes.
There's a level of empathy and
That
like,
we have that make
love
us beautiful.
and like nurturing nature, and it's not innate.
But it comes as a result of, I wouldn't say oppression, but it comes as a result of our place in the structure in society. That's why.
But they're beautiful qualities, and they make.
Exactly.
But they make people.
Exactly. So so let's say each, because there was a debate in knowledge, ignorance, and BS that module that you can.
Just before you land on
yes,
that,
you can.
I
So I can
literally
land.
forget.
Yeah.
You know when they say that thingies rise from ashes?
Oh my god.
What do you think about that? Elizabeth was so aligned. It's not beauty. What's that thing?
What?
The thing that arises from ashes. What's the quote?
What are you talking about? The Phoenix quote?
Phoenix, yeah. I was thinking of that as in like, beauty almost comes from pain and like hardship. So it's like, I get what Eben you ate with
I'm
that.
trying
like,
to word
women or like feminine.
I heard it coming. I was trying to
Yeah.
put into words, but it's like we were basically talking about it in a sense that people who have suffered are able to relate to others more, and that quality of empathy and sympathy and being able to be nice to other people simply because you know what it feels like for
the world not to be nice to you
is beautiful in itself, which is why white men in the structure of society will not be beautiful. It's more likely for them to be ugly. Not because you look ugly, but like your character is bad. That
bad character.
Beauty is
So complex.
Yeah. What's the word? It's a thing.
Abstract.
No. I thought it was.
Tell me our stuff, guys.
It's not flexible, but like
elusive. I like that word.
I don't know.
It wasn't that, but
it's a thing that's just
malleable.
Think of a octopus that's sticky.
Oh.
Thank you.
And that's where she landed. Okay, I don't want to think that. Octopus that's sticky.
No, because like think of beauty being in the head of the octopus, and then the octopus is just
branches.
Spiraling. Yeah, like beauty's much.
Like multifaceted.
Basically. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beauty's multifaceted. Like it's not one dimensional. It's not two dimensional even. It has so many dimensions, so many proportions. You know. Do you have anything else to add?
I did, but we went on a tangent. Now I can't remember where that linked to.
No.
So now I'm like, it's fine.
It's a gem that we've lost.
Yeah, sorry.
You've given us so many though. Thank you.
Man said
Just go to Redefine. Guys,
Elizabeth said it. Like, subscribe.
You have to go
it's free,
to
guys.
Redefine.
And you catch the gems.
In the description.
It's in the description, y'all.
Polyclitus.
What a term.
There's a
Is there a name?
Polyclitus. He's Greek. Polyclitus created a statue called the Canon. I'll put a image on there. See what I did there? Sorry. It was March. I'm so sorry. Yeah, he created the statue called the Canon, and this canon was basically the beauty standard. In fact, it represented what beauty was. It's basically a man, white man, Greek, who was symmetrical. So it's beauty like in symmetry, in like things being equal, in things looking aesthetically pleasing.
To a degree. I personally feel like people always say that apparently, like, as a human beings, the more symmetrical a face is, the more attractive you think it is. So even like mine is symmetry. So if they don't smile at you, it means you're not symmetrical and you're ugly. Allegedly, according to scientists. I didn't say it. Anyways. But no, apparently it's a genuine human thing. Like, mine is societal structures, like, we like symmetry. We like things that are equal. We like things that mirror one another. And I think that can actually be in so many different forms. Even this
setup is literally, we have to make sure stuff is in the middle. Water, bottle up on the same side. Yeah,
I think beauty can be found in that. And I think that's why, like, people who are seen as, like, balanced or grounded often tend to be seen as more beautiful. To me, anyway.
Because they're equal,
even people that demonstrate both, like, because I personally believe that masculinity and femininity exist in everybody.
Yeah,
it's just
I agree.
the degrees to which is different.
I agree.
But I just think people who can have that more balanced tend to be seen as, like, more universal. Universally beautiful. Because it's like, you can do both. Do you know what I mean? And it's not always necessarily in presentation, but just like in the way you think or like the way you carry yourself. You have to have a sense of rationality with expression, like
proportion.
Yeah, as you would say, moderation.
Thank you.
Those are the key words for this episode. Proportion and moderation.
It's so necessary.
Balance. Yeah. Balance. But you know, I do agree. Symmetry is a big thing.
Yeah.
But it's just not like always.
I think it's because we just assume it. That we didn't really want to touch on it, if that makes sense. Because it was literally the last thing on my list. But I feel like I assume beauty in symmetry because it's always around in architecture. There's
like, some aspect of it.
Yeah, there's symmetry all the time, everywhere. It's just aesthetically pleasing.
And I don't know what it is for us. Like when you see something that's asymmetrical, sometimes people just feel uncomfortable looking at it.
Yeah, no.
Full stop. And you want to fix
it. Yeah,
I don't know what human thing that triggers, but.
Damn, psychology. I might have to ask if you're a psychologist, like just drop a comment, you know.
And if you don't drop a comment, are you really a real psychologist?
You're a psychologist. Yeah.
Drop a comment.
Why did you do that degree?
Exactly.
Why in uni?
Why did you study it?
Drop a comment.
Drop the comment.
Thank you.
Your degree is not valid till you drop a comment.
But yeah, that's it.
That's a wrap.
Like, and it's like there's so much more that I could say, but I don't want to drag it.
And I don't want to get dragged.
Akua, genuinely, thank you so much for inserting yourself upon this podcast. It was so much because I can't even express my gratitude to the extent that I would like.
Eden has featured on my channel,
guys,
which
go and
is
open
in the description. Like, how many times do we need to say this?
Tell them.
I only have a chance to just graze her in. It's really an honor.
Stop it. If you haven't subscribed to Redefine, go and redefine your life.
Ooh! You know
On that note, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Things You Can't Touch. And, you know, everything that has been said in this video has been said. If you agree,
what's done is done.
You know, if you agree, please drop it in the comments. If you don't agree, drop it in the comments so that
not too much though.
The philosophy, I love it, and I want to hear other people talking about it. I always have a question, and if you want to see what the next question is, guys, tune into the next episode, dropping on Friday at 9 p.m. See you then.
Beauty and the Beast.
We worship you. Take it to church. Oh, can we not praise the Lord again? That was Antichrist of you. Anyways, back to the center.
Beauty is pain and
I was gonna sing
everything. Thank you.
A little bit of hunger.
Yes.
I can go a little while longer.
She fades away.
She
Thank you.
See
her perfect. She don't understand that she's worthy.
Oh, that really goes deep down inside.
Whoa, whoa.
Don't forget to
Sometimes
Breathe.
I didn't like that. I want to be flirted with. I want to be flirted with.
Okay.
Sorry. Cut out. Cut it out.